Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm Jennifer LaRue. I'm the Director of Public Programs for the Mark Twain House and Museum in Hartford, Connecticut. And I am so thrilled to be with you here this evening for what's going to be just a joyful program. I just had the privilege of spending some time with Lisa and Renee in our green room. And let me just tell you, it's going to be fun. And I'm so glad to see so many of you chatting with one another in the chat. Please keep that up. I have just a few brief remarks to make before we get going. Many of you may be new to Crowdcasts, so I do see that we have a lot of old friends in the audience tonight, but I do see some newcomers. So just for those of you who are new, Crowdcast is a lot of fun. You've already discovered chat. Yes, please hit play. Thanks, Jacques. And the chat is really fun just to observe things and say, oh man, that was awesome, or that's my favorite, or whatever. But at the end of our program tonight, we are going to have a Q&A session featuring your questions. So if you do have a question to ask either Lisa or Renee, please take a moment to post that, if you would, in the Ask Us Question section at the bottom of your screen. Looks like there are already 2 questions there, which is awesome. And I'll be popping up again toward the end of the program to help field those questions. And that makes it a lot easier if you can put them there rather than in the chat. But again, please do keep chatting. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what your favorite Lisa book is. And know that this program is being recorded. You can come back and watch it anytime on our website, marktwainhouse.org, which is also where you want to go to find out about all the multiple programs we have coming up. Just between now and mid-May, we have an evening program featuring an author pretty much every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. So we have lots to offer. It's a great and varied group of presentations. So be here as often as you can. We'd love to see you kind of building a beautiful online community through this virtual programming. Another thing I'd like to draw your attention to is that green button beneath my face. Tonight it says donate to us via Birdies for Charity. We are privileged to be beneficiaries of the Travelers Golf Championships Birdies for Charities program, which matches any donation made between now and I believe it's June 29th by adding 15%. So that is a real benefit to us, and it really stretches your dollars if you choose to share them with us. And I just want you to know that it's been quite a year for us at the Mark Twain House. I'm delighted to say that we are about to reopen for guided tours, but we've not been able to offer those for some months. And that is our main source of revenue. So our second source of revenue is the donations through these programs and the revenue from the programs. And you've been really helping to sustain us through a very difficult time by clicking that green button at these programs. So thank you so much for that. Before I introduce tonight's guests, I do want to show you the book that we're going to be talking about, Lisa Scottolini's new book, Eternal, which we're so excited about. And I want you to know that you can purchase this through the Mark Twain store. It's a signed copy that you're buying, which you don't get in every retail operation. So that's a benefit. And please know that when you do make that purchase, by clicking that link in the chat or going to marktwainhouse.org and purchasing your book that way, proceeds do benefit the museum. So that's an added benefit for us. And we deeply appreciate it, as we do all of your donations. So thank you for listening to me while I shared all of that with you. I do want to introduce our guests, and they asked me to keep it brief. So I'm just going to say Lisa Scottoline is a #1 best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author, and Edgar award-winning author of 33 novels. Geez, oh flip, including her latest work, Eternal, her first ever historical novel. And our good friend Renee DiNino is going to be in conversation with Lisa here tonight. We all know her from iHeartMedia and Channel 3. And I want you to join me, please, in welcoming both Lisa and Renee to tonight's program. Thank you for being here tonight, you two.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited. Hi.
Me too. Thank you for having me. This is really exciting. I've been looking forward to it.
Well, we have too. So call me back up when it's Q&A time. All right, Renee?
Oh, you're leaving us. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
Jennifer's coming back, everyone. She's coming back. So you go, you watch us and you're coming back. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So I just want to say I have a copy of this book.
Yay.
And I think when people buy this book in the coming months, there's going to be probably a special sticker on it. Like sometimes you see, like I know, say if a book, hits like, top spots on some sort of a list, that maybe we have late breaking news right now. You guys, seriously, get ready to do a toast. We're about to drop some late breaking news on you right now. Lisa, tell them.
You are so nice, Renee. Yes, thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to do this. And I do have late breaking news that as of 15 minutes ago, I just found out that Eternal will debut on the New York Times bestseller list at number 4, which is wonderful and delightful. And it's me right now thanking all of you for supporting the book. I'm so excited about it, and we'll talk more about it. But this is just a great big thank you, because it doesn't happen without readers, and that people are, sort of taking it, loving it. The reviews are wonderful. The reader reviews, I mean. The newspaper reviews, sometimes I get, sometimes I don't. But the reader reviews are the ones I look for on Goodreads and online, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. It's really big news, and I'm just thrilled and grateful.
Well, and kind of taking my Italian heritage, this is my husband's homemade wine. And I thought, if anybody has water, wine, tea, coffee, whatever you have, it could be anything. I just have Italian homemade wine. Let's do a toast to Lisa. Congratulations.
To books, to Mark, to you, Genton, 100 years. I wish I had wine.
This is good, but I'm going to put this aside for now because we want to get through this program. All right. So in our conversation tonight, I thought it would be fun for people to see a different side of you. We know your amazing work as an author. So first and foremost, and most importantly, tell us about your dogs and their names.
I am crazy about my dogs and my cats and my chickens, and I got a few horses too. I live on a farm. Now, the dogs right now, there's 5 of them. I have 4. My daughter, Francesca, started us on Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. And I was like, well, that's a nice dog. And then I'm like, oh my God, I love this dog. So now then I got them, and they're all stuck in the bedroom right now because they can't be good enough to be on the show. This is very classy, high-rent Connecticut, Mark Twain. I'm like, don't embarrass mommy. The cats are in the dining room. The chickens are in the coop. We have Bradley Chicken Cooper, who is a rooster.
I love that.
And the horses are in the barn. So look, animals matter to me. I love animals, and I think they're just a part of life. So, and family for us. They always have been, and Francesca feels the same way. So we're crazy about them.
Well, I always say people and pets, when we're kinder to animals, we're kinder to people. That's something that I am known for saying, and I truly believe that. Now, next, I'm glad you brought up your daughter, Francesca, because you all have worked on projects together in writing. So what's that like, taking your craft, something you've done for your lifetime, and now you're seeing your daughter do it? So talk a little bit about how that must feel as a mom and author, and now you write together.
Well, we do. We write humorous books together. They're kind of like Irma Bombeck about mothers and daughters, because I really feel like mothers and daughters are such an important relationship, and they don't get enough play in the ether. And we're really each other's best friends, even though we drive each other crazy sometimes here during the pandemic. But let me take a second to say that she debuted as a novelist this year with the book Ghost of Harvard. Is probably backwards, but it really was very well received, and I'm really proud of it. It's kind of like a psychological thriller, but also a family drama. And look, I'm proud of her. But the truth is, my dad said this, and this is how I feel. He used to come to my signings, and somebody said, you must be so proud of your daughter. And he said, I was proud of her the day she came out of the egg. And that's how I feel about Francesca. I'm proud of everything she does, but I remember when she was, giving me pictures of rainbows, and they're still on the fridge. I mean, it's so that she wrote her first novel. I'm super proud of. But we all want our kids to find their own voice, and I really think she has. It's terrific.
Yeah, that mother-daughter dichotomy is absolutely incredible. My mom today, I'm not making this about me, but I do want to say this. I drove my mom to get her second vaccine today. So I just wanted to, I know she's going to watch this. So I love you, Mom. I'm very proud of you. My mother's name is Santina.
Santina.
DeSalvo. We're Italian. What are you going to
do? Well, Santina, congratulations. I want everybody to get vaccinated. I've had 1 dose too, and I'm just so happy they're on the way. This has just been a difficult, really hard time for so many people. And I think really it's spring, and I'm really looking forward to better things ahead.
I have some other points that I wanted to bring up first, but let's talk about what we were chatting about before we started tonight. I want to let all your wonderful fans here look at how so many wonderful people saying so many nice things to you. But you were saying that, you really miss that connection with people and your readers and your fans. And I honestly, in getting to know you, don't think you think your fans are your fans. I believe you think they're your friends and part of your family.
Oh, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, I've written 33 novels and 8 books of nonfiction that are with my daughter that are about our personal lives. Yeah. And I really just throw it open. And I think that's great. And I've never been wrong. Like, the people, when you love and embrace, people love and embrace you back. Yeah. And my daughter said this once, I thought it was so smart. She said, you know, some authors write to go within and some people write to connect. And I really write to connect. So I'm just so thrilled. Like, look, Catherine read Francesca's book too. Ghosts of Harper's Great. I love Mother Mary. Like, people, because the truth is, it's not, I want to make it clear too, it's not like ego girl, you're writing about yourself. And Francesca feels the same way. If you write about yourself and you tell the emotional truth or the literal truth, then people connect it to their own lives. And that's true whether it's a novel like Eternal or nonfiction. You really are writing to connect. And so you have to lay your soul bare. And that's kind of magical. That's what's magical about books to me.
This is a good time to tell everybody Eternal would make a fantastic Easter basket gift. Any kind of gift. Mother's Day is still coming up, especially if we get at the Mark Twain house, signed by the one and only Lisa. I want to talk a little bit about how you got to Eternal. I'm such a fangirl right now that I know I'm supposed to look at the camera, but I find myself looking at you. So if everybody's wondering what I'm doing, is I'm looking at Lisa's eyes through my computer. So I'll try to pay attention.
No, you're running the show. I mean, I appreciate it. I just get to sit here and have a great time.
Now, I want you to tell us about Philip Roth. And I know how much Mr. Roth has meant to you. And I love one of your quotes about him. You say, taking a class and learning from Mr. Roth is like, imagine taking a physics class from Einstein. And I believe that Mr. Roth was really the reason why this book came to fruition. I mean, the Italian Holocaust, the Rome ghettos. I didn't learn about this in school. And if we did, it wasn't really to the depth of what you bring out in your book and what we're seeing now in the history channels. And I think that's happening across all walks of history, you know, where we're starting to really uncover things that we should have been taught in the first place. So the floor is yours, and start from Mr. Roth.
Well, it's amazingly, and it's really a tribute to the power of teachers, honestly. 40 years ago, I mean, embarrassingly enough, I was in college at Penn. In the 70s, I can't subtract that fast, but I was an English major, and I've always loved book, and was lucky enough to take this course with Philip Roth, who taught there then. It was a seminar. It was only 15 kids, and it was about the novel. And so every time he would just we read a novel every weekend, he would just sit there and lecture. And I actually will show you a picture that I took of him because I was on the yearbook staff. And I said, you know, we should have a picture of Philip Roth in the yearbook. And here he is. I took this. In the 70s, it was 1975, I believe. And he was he was very interesting, brilliant guy. This is so typical of him because he never moved from this chair. And he didn't get up or talk or do his hand, you know, he sat and kind of lectured. We didn't ask any questions. We just took it in like sponges. And he would talk about why this novel was structured this way and then break it down. Why this chapter, why this paragraph, why this sentence. And he introduced us to the works of Primo Levi, who was an Italian Jewish chemist who lived in the 30s in Rome and was an anti-fascist as Mussolini grew. And then I started and I said to myself, this is so fascinating. And being Italian American and being proud of my heritage, I thought I knew a fair amount. I've been to Rome a bunch of times. And I was like, why didn't I know this? And then when I learned about this sort of really true life event that happened in Rome in 1943, I was like, I'm going to write this book. But I didn't do it right away. I knew that it was bigger than I was in a way ready for. And I feel like I've been practicing my whole life. Eternal is the culmination of everything I've learned. It is bigger in scope. It's the story of this love triangle set in fascist Italy. It encompasses 20 years. Instead of one family, it's about 3. And it's a bigger canvas with bigger themes. But it was all inspired by what he taught me back in 1975. I think I used every bit of everything he taught me and everything I know. It is all on the field in this book. And I'm just so thrilled that people are loving it. It just means the world to me.
So I'm going to give a little assignment to those of you that are following along right now, because I have read this book and I have to tell you, and I've been telling Lisa that the imagery that this is invoking in my head, my Italian heritage, It is so moving and so vivid. I'm trying to think of one word I can use to describe this book, and I'm not going to give anything away because just in case if someone hasn't finished the book, we never want to.
Right, we don't want to.
No spoilers here.
I know.
But I mean, if you could think of one word, which is so cliche and hard to do, right? But to just a word, an emotional word that describes your journey through reading Eternal, I would have to say mine is imagery. And that's the word I'm going to use. And under that word imagery, I'm going to say, like, I cannot believe how you described everything from the food to what happened to the heartbreak to, fascism in Italy to people probably not even realizing the Italian Holocaust, and your sensitivity to details in the families that have gone through that. And I'm wondering if people can just say what they're thinking right now. Let's see here.
Well, that's very kind of you to say that.
Yeah. So talk about the writing of because you've been to all these places, and on your website, people can see some of the stories or the pictures and videos, right?
I've never done this before, but I have 20 videos that I took at various locations, and I kind of previewed the book with them. And, basically it's like this. I have written before I think all my books are about family and love and justice in some way. That's what I really think. Whether you call them thrillers or not, that's what I think they are. And I said to myself, you should try to tackle this now because I think you have the chops now and you really want to do it like it was trying to get out of me. And I loved historical fiction and I really wanted to write more in this direction, starting with this book. And what was different about it, so that was what was the same about it, but what was different about it for me was that it was because of the people who perished in Rome. I felt, and what I did was I did so much research, reading, writing, watching movies, reading period fiction, and also going to Rome, that I actually went back to Rome on the 75th anniversary of this event that is a centerpiece in the book. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing to be there then, because then you really felt, because what was happening is here were the descendants of the people, right? So there were, their families were at this memorial. I was at this memorial. I was there. I spoke with them. And also it's interesting as a lawyer, because I'm a lawyer because I always wanted to do justice. Like a lot of people. I mean, you don't have to be a lawyer to feel like that's wrong, that should be righted. And so when I found out about this, I was like, why was there, what do you do when the perpetrators are dead and the victims are sadly passed? And there's no one you can sue or put in jail. And all you can do is tell the story. And when I was at these memorials, I was like, this is a real special responsibility. And some of the names of the people who were victims are in this novel because I wanted to honor them and bring their story to light. Because I think, although it's known inside the scholarship, it isn't really well known outside it. And I'll tell you one little secret aside thing, that when I was doing the research, I also spoke with some historians. One was terrific, Sam Pugliese, and he read the whole manuscript and really helped me make sure I got it right. But one historian, who I won't name, I said to him, why was there no Nuremberg over this? Because there were certainly war crimes trials in Nuremberg, and I followed them. I taught them in a course that I teach at Penn Law School, used to teach. And he said nobody wanted another Nuremberg. And as soon as he said that, I was like, I want another. Like, you don't get a buy, you don't get a pass. So that's why I said all of these emotions, I think they inform and they fuel this narrative. I mean, I feel it. And I think when you read it, you feel it. It's an emotional read. I think it makes you cry, but I also think it uplifts you. I mean, right? I mean, I think the message is love really does conquer all. And love is eternal. And it's all about time and all of these things within families. And I got off the track, but I got so carried away. I got carried away by my own book. Hello.
Listen, I mean, you wrote this. It's beautiful. and you can, it's number 4 in the best New York Times bestsellers. We're finding out tonight. We can brag about this, but I will tell you though, in reading this though, you're absolutely right. I mean, talk about such a horrific subject matter. But there's a lot of levity in the book as well. And the love story at the end of the day could be any year.
Right.
And any scenario that's always, love, heartbreak, a triangle, that's always going to be.
Well,
it's always a woman, isn't it? But,
I know. A little bit like Casablanca in that way. Is that you fall in love at just the wrong time. Like they're born at the wrong time. They fall in love at the wrong time. Elisabetta, who's kind of the main character, she's kind of on her own and really strong. She decides she wants to be a writer at the wrong time, because the truth is, and to me, I had written this before the pandemic, like I handed it in and then the pandemic hit. But the pandemic is a lesson in like, you do not know where your life will lead. You do not know what hardship you will undergo. And I think the message that we get from Eternal, and we're all learning in spades, is, we're stronger than we think. We rely on each other for everything, and we get through these hardships together. As Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. And that was forged in the World War II, and it's as true now.
I also like the perspective you give in this book from all sides, without giving too much away. But I also think that is a great word for today. We are learning, and whether we're doing it by force or by want, desire, or need, we're being right in our face perspective of all views. And I love the way that this book, again, it's a specific subject matter, a specific timeline, but if you took that all away, it's really great for reading right now, and also kind of a lesson to reset your brain and just be more accepting and have more love and kindness, which, at the end of the day, maybe we will see that someday. I hope that we do.
I know we will.
This book has it.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. And certainly Primo Levi was the one who had a great quote. I'll mess it up now, but I'll paraphrase it. But he said, as I said, he was, taken by the Nazis and went to Auschwitz and survived and wrote an incredible memoir, which is one of the things we read in the Philip Roth class. And he said, as long as you start to consider somebody different from you, then you will think they're less than you. And in the end, that will end in a camp. And that's sort of interesting. And it doesn't happen, boom. It happens bit by bit by bit. And, I just wanted to talk about the specifics of this historical event, because it was interesting to look at how Mussolini got people. It's not like he said, they say he made the trains run on time. That really isn't it. He basically said to people, like Marco's a good example. Elisabetta's in love with Marco, who's like really sexy and cool and a cyclist, and all the girls love him. But he has a little bit of a secret, because he's actually dyslexic. Modern reader will know he's dyslexic. He can't read, but they didn't know what that was then. I had to research dyslexia in Rome, and sadly, he just feels really dumb and behind. So he keeps that shame to himself. And when fascism comes on, it says, oh, you're not dumb. You're very special. You're Roman. We conquered the world. You should have huge self-esteem. And so it's attracted to him. And then, of course, as fascism went on, it was the carrot and the stick. The carrot was, you're awesome. The stick was, and if you don't agree, we're going to beat you up. So it's in contradiction to Sandro, who's Jewish and really thoughtful and a lovely guy and a great listener. Sandro loves to say, dimmi tutti, which is Italian for tell me everything. And what woman would want to hear that? Like, I wouldn't be divorced twice if somebody had said that to me. Just once. So, it's all but it's still a story about people caught in circumstances that are out of their control. And what do they do with it? That's timeless. That is an eternal subject, in my opinion.
Well, and Lisa, fans will know that even though you're divorced twice, your third husband will be a dog.
Exactly. What an idea.
That's a great read, by the way. If anyone hasn't read that, please read that. By Lisa, by the way. I wasn't insulting anybody there.
I'm fine with
that. All your fans here probably know all about that anyways. But I also found it interesting that it took you all this time to come up with Eternal, and we're glad it did. But you actually touched on it, and I wonder if your fans would know this. You actually touched on it in two Rosato and Associates books, one being The Vendetta Defense and the other Killer Smiles. So, but did you consciously, in the Vendetta Defense, did you consciously know you were touching on the subject that it would turn into Eternal?
No, I've been, as I say, and that's really proof positive of what I'm saying, because this has been eating me up for about 40 years. That's how long it took me to get my nerve up. And I was like, just dip your toe in. Being a writer, you kind of learn on the job, and you learn in public. When I started in the beginning, I wrote only women main characters. And I was like, good, I love this. There's not enough of them. Then I was like, maybe you should try a guy. And then I tried a guy. And then I tried a flashback. And then I tried past tense. I think as a writer, it's really, really important to grow. So I was kind of dipping my toe in. And I secretly, women will recognize this, because I was a little bit always like, Lisa, everybody has something, I think, that eats them up alive that they want to do, or they're too scared to do, or they can't take the leap, whether it's whatever it is, could be anything. Could be falling in love. It could be getting married. It could be getting a dog. It could be getting a cat. It could be moving. It could be a lot of things. Risk. It's about risk. And how good are you with risk? And now you're finding out I'm not very good. But I was eating myself up saying someday somebody's going to write that story. So those little books were my practice. Those parts of those books were my practice run. That's why I know that people who have read my books before and loved them are going to love this book, because I've been in this milieu for a while.
Mm-hmm. I want to remind people that we're going to do a Q&A, and Jennifer will join us a little later on. So keep your questions coming in because we are monitoring them. We're still in the middle of our conversation. I'm so honored to be here tonight. I was so honored to be asked to do this. And Jacques, who's on here, he sent me a message. He goes, "Hey, do you want to do this, Lisa?" And I said, "Oh my God, I have her books in my bookcase over here. This is incredible." So this is
so
really
nice. I'm so honored, really.
No, I'm honored, but I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about writing and your approach and things, because during the pandemic, a lot of people had to assess their lives and maybe reevaluate who they were, what they were doing with their lives. A lot of career changes happened, whether they were forced or because it was time to make the move. So, going back to that risk and to people here, and I have some friends that are here tonight who've taken some leaps during the pandemic, but, as far as following your passion or your desire, can you give any advice? And also, do you think you have any choice in your career?
Oh God, I think we always have choice. I mean, this is still America. And I made a big career change when I had been a lawyer and I got divorced and my daughter was born. This was 35 years ago. I was like, I was a single mom. I thought, it's hard. I mean, my personal choice was I didn't want to be a trial lawyer because trial lawyer is kind of all consuming. And I'd always wanted to write from that Philip Roth. And I was like, maybe you can make a career of it. And I had 5 years of incredibly bad rejection. I was so broke. I was broker than broke. But the story that I like to tell is my favorite rejection letter was from a New York agent who said, "We don't have time to take any more clients. And if we did, we wouldn't take you."
Oh, snap.
I wonder if he's watching tonight, dude. Anyway, now you see.
What if he's got a link to the New York Times bestsellers for tonight, dude?
How about that? So I'm a big fan of just taking that risk. And, a lot of things are not like you can go back. You can change a lot of things. I think it's good to really try. So during the pandemic, I think I have just been, I'm a count your blessings person from the get-go. Mm-hmm. And so is my daughter. So I have just been thinking how lucky I am to be able to still work from home and still have readers. And God bless booksellers who are still trying to stay open and doing curbside delivery. And I'm trying my best to keep them going, and they're trying to keep me going, and libraries and so many places. And, I'm just grateful to all of we're doing a whole eternally grateful giveaway this week. Every Tuesday night I'm going to be on, we're going to give out books to teachers and first responders and military service members and best friends and all the people who sustain us during this really hard time. So come check it out on Tuesday nights, because it's really important to say thank you. And gratitude really matters, especially now.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I'm going to bullet point a few little fun topics for you before we get to our questions here. All right. So I am a fan of books, but let me tell you something. I need a book. Hardcover, soft cover, I don't care. I cannot read on digital. I know people do like that, but I need to fall asleep and be woken up on my book falling off my bed at night. I can't have. So are you a book reader, or do you like digital reads, or do you do
everybody can read however they want? This is what I think. Like, people think, is it cheating if it's an ebook? No, you just enjoy it however you want. It's chocolate cake, whether you put it on china or styrofoam. But I'm a book person. I'll tell you the second thing I am, though. I'm an audiobook person.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
Freaking. Is that okay to say freaking? That's what I was going to say.
No, we have to censor the word freaking, I think, right? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm Italian. That's keeping it clean.
I know, right?
Please. I love audiobooks, and I always have. And the audiobook of this is done by the two most amazing people, Eduardo Ballerini, who's just a beautiful actor, and Cassandra Campbell. And I just love audiobooks. I've always loved audiobooks. So I actually asked for them and I got them. And I'm so weird, but I'm just telling you that I've never in my life, 33 novels and 8 memoirs, which Francesca and I record. So I know how hard it is to do an audiobook. We've actually won prizes for our audiobooks. But this, I've never listened to an audiobook of my own book before this one, and I couldn't stop listening to it. So I don't want to diss audiobooks. I think they're amazing. And I cleaned my whole house this weekend, which, believe me, I don't really care enough to do. But I did. I'm like, chapter 87. I'm like, wow, what's going to happen? I mean, I know what I cried. I'm like, I wrote this book. Why don't I remember that was making? So audiobooks are, because the truth is, I'll just tell you a sneak thing about me. When I write the book, I say every word of it because I think that's what people do in their head when they read it. And you get it really smooth that way. You get the sentence so it's not clunky or bonky or some place you're going to go slow or trip over. So I think stories are meant to be told. So when I hear people tell it, I'm like in heaven. I'm in geek heaven. I'm just telling you, it's book heaven up there.
Get Eternal the audiobook. You'll have a clean house. I think that's what we just heard. Your house will be so clean. You can hear the whole
your house. You will paint your neighbor's house. You will be weeping, but also joyous. It will change your life. I'm serious. Honestly, I thought it was stellar. And I'm not bragging about me. I'm bragging about them. They're amazing. It's a whole different thing.
Let's talk about you and your daughter again and the kitchen. So obviously there's a lot of imagery in this book about food and pasta and artichokes and everything like that. But why don't you talk about you in the kitchen? Is there a favorite meal you all like to cook together or maybe go out and eat or get takeout? But especially during this pandemic, I mean, everybody made bread and banana bread. But is there something that, you and your daughter like to cook together or maybe even a recipe you could share?
First of all, there's my mother's amazing ravioli recipe is on my website, where there's like an interactive map and book club questions. We want you to have the whole experience as a companion to reading or listening to the book. But I will tell you, my down and dirty favorite meal is Barilla whole wheat pasta with Rayo sauce. I could eat that. Rigatoni, penne. I love pasta. I'm a pasta freak. Sometimes we'll make homemades, not that often, I gotta admit. But I just love. When we grew up, we ate it every night. I thought everybody had spaghetti every night. My friends all came to my house for dinner because we were having spaghetti every night. My mother made the best sauce. We call it gravy. She made the best gravy ever, but she didn't tell us a recipe. But it's amazing. I still have an eggplant parm that she made for us in my freezer, and she passed. Oh, I guess 5 years ago. I know. We're not going to eat it. We just love it.
It's there.
It's there. That's what, but I love eggplant parm. My daughter makes incredible eggplant parm, but I am a pasta person, man. I can't get enough of it.
Although I will say at my age, which I won't disclose, I have yet to have a jarred bottle of sauce. I've never had, I can't, I don't know, because we never had it. And it's not like a thing. It's just that I feel like just like I wasn't allowed to have cereals with sugar, I still don't know what Fruity Pebbles tastes like. I'm like, oh, I'm not allowed to have that. So I walk by it.
You're good. I just outed myself. I'm embarrassed. I hope people don't write me. I'm just telling you, you know what? Rayo's is a really good sauce. I don't know.
Maybe you'll get a sponsorship out of this. Good luck to you.
Better than they do it. And it's very simple. Sometimes I eat it out of the jar. It's great. And I also do it while I'm eating. So reading, because I live alone. Except when Francesca's here. So I have a lot of tomato sauce on all of my books. And that shows that I'm living my life right, in my opinion.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this is an amazing conversation that we're having with Lisa. I could not be more honored to be here. I know that they gave us a specific time, but I feel like I'm not being fair to all your fans who want to be here. So if Jennifer, if you don't mind, and I have more things I can do, but I feel I want to be fair to the people who are asking questions, who adore you as much as we do. So I think it's time for some questions. Is that okay?
Adoring me so much. I'm loving this. I'm moving to Connecticut. I tell you this.
Come to Connecticut. Oh, wait. I have to tell Jacques.
I go to Art Julia every year with the book, except
awesome.
And I stop at Clam Castle. And I love Clam Castle. My daughter and I love Clam Castle. We take a picture. I have a t-shirt from Clam Castle.
We love that. Now, Jacques, I already have to tell you this. Lisa has agreed to be the keynote for Bark Twain Bash Cats Meow 2022. I have it out in public. She's going to do it. All right. Now, Jennifer, let's get to the questions from your fans.
Before I do, I just have to say, I love my job all the time, but this is one of the nights when I just love my job so impossibly much. This is just so much fun. So thank you.
Well, cheers to you.
And
me. Wait, I'm almost out of water now. This sucks. I'm having
coffee, but
that's not what she was having before.
Hey, Renee. That's the inside
secret.
Inside pool. Oh my gosh, there's so many good questions. There was one.
While I look, I'm being rude.
Jill wants to know, this is one of the first questions I asked you because somehow I had got your name wrong. Please confirm the pronunciation of your last name.
Scottoline rhymes with fettuccine. That's what my dad said. I'm trying to take it seriously, not a menu, but I'll take it.
Thank you. Donna.
Favorite color, hot pink.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share?
Pizza is great, plain.
You've had New Haven pizza, I assume.
What?
Have you had New Haven pizza from Pepe's or Sally's?
No, I haven't. I see those billboards every time I drive on 95 coming home. And I'm like, oh, that looks like a good place to stop. But I'm always like trying to bomb home.
All right. Well, we're going to make that part of your itinerary when you do come to Hartford, and we're holding you to that. So Donna says, I think this story would make a marvelous film. Is there any progress in that area? And who would you cast in the lead roles?
Okay. So this is so much fun. And now I'm going to ruin it because here's the thing. First off, there is buzzing about that, which is very nice. But the truth is, I don't have anybody in mind to cast because here's the real truth. I envision these characters and I know exactly what they look like. And you know what? You envision them and you know exactly what they look like. And it might not be exactly the same. And I love that. I love the thing about books is that readers bring their imagination. That's why you probably have figured this out because you guys are smart. But that's why in a lot of books, they have the back to the camera. Like, and people have make jokes about that. Honestly, there's a reason for it. And it makes me very happy because there are other books of mine where they show the faces. Don't show the face. Don't show the face. I spend all day trying to think about how to describe this. And I want readers to come into it. So don't tell them what to think because they're my readers and they're smart. Look at me getting all attitudinal.
Well, yeah. I mean, does that mean that, do we take that to mean that you would prefer there not to be a film version?
No, I would love it because I'll tell you, I think it brings people to the books. And I really want people to read this book. I want people to get this book and love it and tell everybody about it and post about it. And I'll read about it and thank them. That's what I really want. And I know that movies do that. Otherwise, I'm delighted to have it the way it is.
If you don't mind, I just wanted to point out Laura's on here, and Jennifer, I don't know if you could see that, but Laura I've known for a very long time, and she took a risk during this pandemic. She actually reads and does audiobooks now, and I just thought that was fun to point out, and I'm seeing a lot of comments about people thanking you.
She knows how wonderful audiobooks are.
Yeah.
It's just, I listen at night. I listen a lot of time. I walk the dogs when you walk the dogs. And it's like, I can't wait to walk the dogs. Like the dogs are losing weight. I'm not losing weight. But the dogs are losing weight because we're going around and around the block to do another chapter. It's just the greatest. What a time we live in where this technology is so wonderful. I can't even
Absolutely. And not only with the audiobooks, but what we're doing this evening.
Yes.
And we have people from all over the place joining us here tonight, which
it's like my daughter said, it sucks that you can't go on tour, but the truth is make limoncello out of lemons, and that's what we're doing.
Well, speaking of that, I want to hear more questions from people. So I'm throwing it back to you, Jennifer, because I'm so excited because I just love hearing your natural responses to questions.
It is super fun, and I can tell our audience is loving it too. And thanks for your great questions.
Great, Donna.
I have to tell you that whenever we have authors come speak in person at our auditorium, every single one of them says, your audience has the best questions of any audience I've ever had. So good on you, Mark Twain House audience.
Keep up. Ask me anything. I'm not sure.
So Roseanne, this is fascinating. Roseanne says, I'm planning to teach the book to first-generation college students. Any suggestions from Lisa and much appreciation.
Oh, how nice. Well, thank you for that. I really honor teachers, as you know, from Mr. Roth. And I honor them so much that I tried to teach for a time at Penn Law School, I taught, of course, justice and fiction. And the truth is, which I developed, and I'm so high energy that I thought, well, I can do this. And after the 3-hour class, 125 kids, and I would come home like exhausted. It was like, I can't keep this up. So I'm so thrilled that you're doing that, and I really appreciate it. And as for suggestions, I mean, I think it's great that you're here. I think that the key thing is just to, I think that I really tried Hemingway said, write drunk, edit sober. And now I don't do that. But the spirit is in eternal. Because when I first wrote this out, I had a 1,000-page manuscript, and I had so much extra facts. And that's why I put so much on the website, because I was like, here's a map that will tell you things. Here it will tell you the history. Here's pictures that I took. Here's video. But I had to get the book down to a normal book size, which I did. So what I think really it remains in the book, in the edit sober part, is exactly what happened as the history goes on. But it really is always a story about 3 people and the families. It's also their parents, how their parents are affected. Because the really interesting thing about fascism in Italy, which, by the way, was the first fascist party. Mussolini invented it. He invented the youth groups that Hitler copied. He invented so much that Hitler copied, not the other way around. And it was very interesting in that, unlike Nazism, fascism was not anti-Semitic in the beginning. Jews were assimilated in Rome. The intermarriage rate was 50%. The mayor of Rome was Jewish. So it's really a fascinating study. So that until Mussolini decides to align with Hitler, and he really wasn't sure what he wanted to do, he enters with Hitler, makes a terrible, horrible, disgusting, just tragic miscalculation. And that's when fascism turns on Jews. Jews had joined the fascist party in the same percentage as Gentiles. So Sandro, they're all fascists when you start. Sandro is fascist. His father is fascist. They're Jewish. His father wants to rise in the fascist party. And then when the anti-Semitic laws come in, I don't want to give up too much away, but that's all laid out in the book exactly. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I did all of this research. I got documents from the Vatican that were telegrams that were sent. It's all real. I think you can rely on it and teach it as a course. So it's meant to be a really entertaining novel. And I think it certainly in the first half transports you. But I'll tell you a secret. A lot of that stuff in the beginning about love and food is to make you feel this great quote that Dante says, which is that, it's to remember, hurts so much. It hurts more to remember how happy you were when times are hard. So I had to show you how happy they were. I had to make you let you taste the food and walk the streets of Trastevere and feel the Italian sun and get the little dust from the cobblestones so that later, because food's really central to Italians, as we know, and also in this book. And then when the war comes on, food is rationed. And then when the Nazis occupy Rome, they weaponize food. They try to starve the Jews of Rome. And I did not know that until I did the research. And I wanted that. And until you feel that deprivation, you have to undergo the deprivation they undergo to understand how heinous and wrong it was. And that's all the stuff that's in this book. Now, I forget the question was that I got carried away for a change.
I think you answered. I was just asking for tips for teaching the book to first-generation college students, and I think you covered that. Thank you.
No, I'm thrilled she's thinking about doing that.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Maya, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, has a question that I'm interested in too, which is, she says, "Hi, Lisa, I love your striking writing. I was wondering what your writing process was like for Eternal. Did you write daily? Do you set daily word counts? And I'd like to know, are you a pantser or an outliner?
Right, that's a really good question. And I like when people ask that because I think that we are like a nation of storytellers. And as I say, with this story, it deserved to be told. It needed to be told. I think a lot of people have a story in them. And I want to demystify the writing process. So I'll tell you what I do. I sit down at my desk, which is right over there. Want to see?
Yeah.
Desk.
There's where the magic happens.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's clean. That's nice. And I do 2,000 words a day. And then I get all the way through. I don't edit while I'm writing. I just tell the story because I want to. because her questions, are you a pantser, which is kind of a term for do you outline or do you go by the seat of your pants? And you know that somebody divorced twice with a kid and it's I'm a pantser, okay? And so when I started this book, and it was bigger than ever, like I was like, okay, this girl's going to fall in love with both her best friends, and they're going to fall in love with her. And it's not going to be like the guys compete because they really love each other. So it's going to be no win. And how the hell am I going to get out of it? And I'm like, I don't know. Sounds like a good time to start. And so I just try. The key is, if you're writing, but I think it's the key to a successful narrative, whatever type of book it is try to figure out what the character would do next. So the first thing that happens in this book, I'm not giving anything away. The prologue, Elisabetta says to her son, I think it's time that I'm going to tell my son who his father is. Then the next chapter is back in time. Elisabetta is looking at her two best friends, and she looks at Marco and she said, I think he's going to be my first kiss. And then before she knows it, Sandro gives her a kiss. And the readers, you guys are smart. Like they know, what's this about? Which one does she end up with? What's going on? And then I just go, well, what would happen next? Well, Marco would drive away from the river on his bicycle, go, did I see her kiss Sandro? Probably not. And Sandro would go, oh my God, I'm in love. So if you just do that and tell the story, readers will be able to follow it. That is my complete process. When I get all through it, I go back, and then I remember Philip Roth, who took us through those paragraphs and said, look at each sentence, and this is why it's there. So since he taught me that, I remember my teachers, and I go to my each sentence, justify yourself. I actually say this sentence to live, to make this draft, has to justify itself. And in this book, because it was bigger, there have to be chapters. The first draft was so big, there have to be chapters that have to justify themselves. And if they don't, they go out, out, out.
Jennifer.
Go ahead, Renee.
No, I apologize. I just wanted to add to that. If I hope this is okay, because as you're talking, I was thinking about this. But do you, so everything I would think becomes sort of like your baby, each chapter, each word and things like that, right? And then I was just thinking to myself, Jennifer, maybe we're on the same wavelength, when you turn your paper, your assignment into your editor, and then they make their own interpretations, does that hurt a little bit? Do you have to ever give a pushback? What kinds of discussions are that?
Well, you're kind of a grown-up, so you get to push back. I have a wonderful editor, Mark Tavani, and with this book, like I gave him the 1,000-page manuscript. I was like, this is kind of what I want to write. And he was like, he called me up at night, which they never do. Like, it's not business hours. I'm like, scratching my butt, my pajamas. Sorry, I said detail. And I'm like, in my editor, like, what is he on? And he was like, I really love this book. He says a lot of really nice things, but he says, I think it needs to begin on page 371. And I was like, what? It was so much work out the window. But then as soon as he said it, I was like, oh my God, that's right. And that's what's so great about having such an excellent editor, that he gets what you're trying to do and he helps you to do it better. And as soon as I mean, he's on my side. So I'm not pissed. Maybe there was a sentence or two that he thought, maybe you can lose that. I'm like, I kind of like that. And he's like, fine, it's your book. You live or die on it. But it was very helpful to me. No one else reads my stuff. I don't let anyone else read it. It doesn't go out the door till I think it's perfect. I thought it was 1,000 perfect pages, but we got it down to way less than half that. And now it's a normal book. But a lot happens, which is what you want, a lively book.
Well, and Renee, you're right. I was going to ask pretty much the same question about killing your babies. So you should be scared. You should be worried when you start thinking.
I get separation anxiety from fictional characters. When we hang up, I'm going to miss you guys. Like, I'm telling you.
We'll miss you. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay. So my friend and colleague Mallory says, if you could have dinner, Lisa, with any 3 authors, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh my God. Think about this. Okay. Well, this is corny, but I'm a geek. What can I tell you? Okay, Shakespeare. I'm just telling you, the guy, like I took so much Shakespeare courses and I still can't believe that somebody actually wrote these plays and they're resonant today. I taught Merchant of Venice in my course at Justice in Fiction. And every time I read all of these plays, I see something else. The second person will be someone no one knows, but her name is Elsa Morante, and she wrote an incredible book called History. And then it's about Rome during the war. And I read it and I read everything she wrote, and she's a terrific author. And I was like, she would be very cool. The third one, this is also, I don't know about if I'm saying this right. Well, I really like humor. And I really think that PJ Wodehouse, now I'm probably saying his name wrong, but he was pretty terrific. And, when I teach the course, I like to look at voice. And it almost doesn't matter what you're writing about sometimes if the characters are right and the voice is right. And like S.J. Perlman, those guys had a wit. Then I love smart people and I love funny people. And I think funny is an aspect of intelligence. That's why I like when people joke around. So that I might do that. I might do one of those two guys just to have somebody witty at the table. Because I think humor, I think in this book, like Nona is a funny character. She's based on my mom. She's an older woman who Elisabetta finds and teaches her how to make pasta, just like my mother taught me and my daughter. And my mother had that sense of humor. And I do think humor can get you through the darkest things, like the darkest times. And you need that at your dinner table.
Awesome answer. And we're not marking you down for not saying Mark Twain.
I know. I would be a little too pandery. What's on the nose? I think he would be super cool, but he had a wit. I mean, he might have some things to say about me. I'd be worried. But
I think you'd have fun together. I think the two of you had a great time.
We love dogs, so that was,
There you go. So
and cats.
He
loved and I just want to give a big shout out to Jennifer too for coordinating all of this. She's been such a pleasure to work with and to learn from, and really gave me a lot of strength and courage to do this tonight, because I usually don't get this nervous, and you've just been tremendous, Jennifer. I want to make sure everybody knows it's been a real true pleasure to work with you as well.
Is so dedicated, and she got us through the tech stuff, and she's so loves the Mark Twain house. So I'm going to donate, Jennifer. There you go. Would you rather have me pander or donate?
Donate.
Oh, never mind.
I'm very touched. Thank you very much. And it's been just, I don't want this to end. This is, like I said, one of the best evenings I've had. And I'm so thrilled to be here tonight with you. And now I can't unchoke up to ask some more questions. Give me 2 seconds.
She needs a second, but I was noticing some things in here, and people were asking about you and your daughter, and if she traveled with you on your journey to some of the destinations for Eternal. I can't remember the name of the person. I'm sorry. It was there.
We have been to Italy together, and she has helped me observe things and take notes. But what she did that was super valuable was I actually let her read a draft of this while my editor was reading it, and she made some great suggestions. And she actually told me how to make Marco sexier. So, when your daughter gives you advice about men, you've raised her right, She's a wonderful writer. So I was appreciative of that. It's really great to be able to turn to her as a colleague and say, what do you think? And she goes, how about this? I go, you're kind of right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
So our audience member Donna says, I heard about your book when I was at an event with Luann Rice, and she suggested we read it.
Oh, I love her.
Do you have a suggestion about a good book you've read or are looking forward to reading?
Oh my God. Well, I love Luann's books, Shadow Box. That's her new one. I really loved Sunflower Sisters from Martha Hall Kelly, who wrote Lilac Girls and Lost Roses. That's a wonderful story. It's historical fiction also about 3 women, and one is an enslaved person, and one is a nurse, and one is a kind of the owner of a plantation. And it was how their lives intertwine was really, really fantastic. I love Lisa Wingate. Before We Were Yours was such an amazing book, and I love the Book of Lost Names by her too. I'm like in a historical fiction binge, as you can tell. So oh my God, Paula McLean. I love The Paris Wife, and she has a new suspense novel coming out called When the Stars Go Dark. Adriana Trigiani, I just love as a person, and anything she writes, her effervescence comes through. I love all of her books. I read all the time. And I would recommend my daughter's book. I think Ghosts of Harvard was amazing, and I'm just proud of it. I think it's one of the best books I've read recently. I read it, you read it. I can read it objectively. I can.
Well, did everybody get all that? And I'll just remind you that if you didn't, you can come back and watch this. It's being recorded, and I know I'm going to come back and watch it so I can just relax and bask in everybody's presence. So we'll be able to take notes next time through. And yeah, the Lilac Girls and the Sunflower Sisters are based on a family that was a Connecticut family, right?
Yes, I know. It's so fascinating to learn about. And in the back of Sunflower Sisters, because I love stuff like this, there's pictures of the actual family and the house, and it's part of Connecticut history. I just don't think it gets better than that. I should also mention Chris Bajalian has a book coming out called Hour of the Witch that I really loved. So we get it. I'm lucky enough to get an advance copy. And it's about an abused wife during the time of witch trials in Massachusetts. And you go, that's a really hard assignment to give yourself as an author. You know, well, how's she going to do that? What's she going to do? And I thought it's like an eternal. I wanted to make sure the personal story was prominent and the history is backdrop. Like, we're not going to, you don't have to study. It's not studying, there's no study questions. And I think he really succeeded in doing that in Hour of the Witch. I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah, Jennifer, did you see Robin has a question? Do we have time for one more question, or?
I got as far as I'm concerned, yeah. Where is Robin's question?
I see on the bottom of my screen here, she's wondering if you're going to continue on with historical fiction.
Oh yeah, nice. That was going to be my next one.
I hope you guys want me to, because I think I'm going to. I already have an idea for that. I'm going to write a thriller next, and then I'm going to try to squeeze in a Rosado and Associates, Rosado and D'Annunzio. And I'm going to return to historical fiction. I know I am. And listen, to be realistic, when you have such wonderful support and readership like this, and they get you in the bestseller list, that gives you an impetus, and you get to say, okay, we're making a go of a new direction. And that's wonderful. That's just such a blessing as an author to be able to follow your heart and write something. And I think people can feel that when they read this book. So thank you for that question. And thank you for this night. This was just really, really special,
super special for all of us. And so, yes, you're a little ahead of me, Renee. I'm going to bring up Laura's suggestion in just a moment. I do want to say that Jacques posted, Lisa, in the chat that we did invite Philip Roth to come to the Mark Twain house, and he turned us down. So I hope that you'll do better by us. And, we'll,
I said you had me at hello.
Okay, we look forward to it so much. Maybe when the paperback comes out will be a good time to come.
I'm going to go bark, whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to be here for the Bark Twain Bash. I'm so sorry. I forgot
she's coming. We got to. I'm taking a picture of I'm fangirling. Jennifer, smile. Look and smile. Every smile.
Let me hold them up.
There you go.
Okay, take pictures.
Okay, thank you. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to let everybody go. I have so many things I want to say, but I don't want to keep everybody. Yes, this would, as Renee and Jacques have pointed out, this book, Eternal, would make a wonderful Easter gift, and Mother's Day, Passover, birthday, whatever is coming up. I think anybody who would receive it would really appreciate it and love it. So consider doing that. And again, remember that if you do purchase it through us, you're helping the museum out as well, and making it possible for us to continue to offer programs like this tonight. So Lisa, I know we've already agreed to this, but one of the things I like to point out is that the Mark Twain House and Museum is a writer's home and a home for writers. And as of now, you are a member of our circle of writers, and I hope that we'll see you and hear from you often. Thank you so much.
I'm really honored. He was amazing, and I'm so grateful to you for keeping. It's such an important statement for such an important American writer that we honor him and remember him.
Well, thank you. And Renee, whenever Jacques said, let's ask Renee to do this. Yes, she's pointing to the Mark Twain house. Can you pick that up, or is it too far away, Renee?
No, I didn't even realize when we started this. I love the Mark Twain house so much. It's ever since a child, and Jacques gave this to me 10 years ago, and it's been in this room. It's probably really dusty right now. I'm going to put it back.
That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's what you're in for. Mallory says,
gorgeous.
Mallory works in the curatorial department. She says, Lisa, come check out the archives when it's safe. So we'll give you the whole 9 yards, the full Monty, whatever.
I would be honored to do that.
And Renee, you have to come along.
So highly of you guys. This is just great.
Well, thank you so much. I know our audience has loved this. I loved this. And
I loved it too. I love you guys. Thank you, everybody, so much. I really appreciate it.
And congratulations on your.
Thank you, Renee. Love you guys.
Congratulations on number 4.
Thanks again for everything.
Good night, everybody.
I just have to go now.
I know.